Happy Mother's Day to all of you moms out there, bio moms, adoptive moms, foster moms, grandmas raising their grandkids. Did I get everyone? Stepmoms, let's not forget you, of course. Happy Mother's Day to everybody who is in the mom role. And I also just want to recognize that today is hard for a lot of people. It can be a heavy and sad day, Mother's Day. And I'm just really glad that you're here. If that's you, that you came anyways. And I just hope that you can find some encouragement for your heart today. I want to start today by praying together for everybody who is in the mom role, the day in and the day out of caring for kids, and for those also who find today heavy and sad. So could we just pray together? You just bow your heads. Lord, in the midst of the chaos, I pray for everyone in the mom role today, that they would find peace and joy and strength that comes from knowing they're doing your work. And I pray that they would know and remember that you are with them every moment, every lunch they make, every meal, every bedtime story, every ride they give, every conversation, every smile, every little way that they make a house, a home. God, would you bless them? Make your face shine upon them and give them peace. And I want to pray too for those who are separated from their kids today or from their moms. Maybe there's a broken relationship, or maybe they've passed away. Lord, would you bring your healing to their hearts today? You know every one of those situations. You see them. You feel the pain. Would you hold those broken hearts in your hands today? We know your heart is to heal, and so I pray for healing in even the toughest situation. I pray for miracles of restoration in relationships today, Lord. And I also want to pray for those who are waiting, who long to be a mom, and for whatever reason it hasn't happened. Give them peace in the uncertainty. Help their hearts to remember that you are with them, that you are good, that you have a plan. And I pray for miracles too, for miracle babies to be born in the next year. I pray today for your peace to wash over them as they wait, the peace that defies understanding, and an unshakable trust in you that defies understanding. And for those who wanted to and never got to be a mom, I pray today that you would give them such a deep peace in knowing that you have such a good, full, and beautiful plan for their lives. And for all of us today, Lord, we need you. We need more of you, and we know you aren't holding out on us. We know that sometimes we need to slow down and make room for you. Open our hearts today to hear what you're speaking to us. We love you and are so thankful for everything you've done in our lives. Amen. So we have a little gift on the way out for everyone that I just prayed for, every woman that I just prayed for. It's just a cute little bookmark with some encouragement on it. So for those of you who don't know me, Emma introduced me. How many of you didn't know that she was my daughter? I think it was hey, see, you learned something. You also learned that I don't know how to turn my mic on. Learned two things today. So I'm also Pastor Mike's wife. If you're new, you probably don't know that. So we've been married at the end of May. It's going to be 35 years. Yeah, it doesn't sound real when I say that out loud because I still feel like I'm 40, but I know that can't be true. Both of those things can't be true. So we have been married for 35 years. We've got 6 grown-up kids, and they're awesome. 3 of them are married, and we have 3 of the very best kids-in-law that you could ever pray for. And we did pray for them. And the best part of all, we have 5 grandkids, and yes, I'm going to show you pictures. So lock the doors. It's family album time. Okay, so first of all, we have Noah. Yeah, little Noah, and he's almost 7. He's holding his little baby cousin there. And his little brother Finn, who's 4. And those 2 are if any of you have ever talked to them, you will agree. They are the most confident people. For such young kids, they don't forget names, they don't forget faces. They'll talk to anyone about anything. It's just pretty awesome. And then there's their little cousin, Lennon, and she turns 3 next week. I know, couldn't you just eat her on toast? I could eat her on toast. She has such a sweet little helper's heart, so precious. And then her little brother, Drew, who just looks like that all the time. His mom said he hears the FaceTime, like when the sound of the FaceTime, and he starts doing that because he knows somebody's face is gonna show up there. So cute. And last but not least, look out world, here comes Theodore Lucky. Yeah, his parents are so tired. Like, look at him, he's got one boot on, he's got my car keys, he's like, come on, chop, chop, I got things to do. He's just always on the move, and the only kid I've ever known as wild as him happens to be his mom, who you just heard. So I heard someone say once that when they had their first child, they said, I'd kill for that kid. And then when they had their first grandchild, they said, I'd kill my kid for that kid. Yeah, and all of you grandparents out there, you're like, that's it. That's exactly what I've been trying to say. It's just so true. So I have to share with you all Finn. He was the 4-year-old you saw there. His Mother's Day present for his mom, Tori. Let's see it up there. I want to read it to you. My mom's name is Tori. She is 5 years old. She always says no to everything. Her job is working. If I had $1 million, I would give my mom cream for her face. I think Finn has a gift of encouragement. It's like, I know we don't have a lot of money, but like your fate, you gotta get some cream. She cooks the best hot dogs. Her favorite color is pink, which it definitely isn't. Our favorite thing to do together is battle bots, which Tori says I've never played that with him. That's Josh that plays that with him. So anyways, hilarious. Thank you for going on that journey with me. So fun. So you guys know this about me, that I never want to get up in front of you and talk about anything that isn't real in my own life. So when I was planning and praying there was a women's event that I spoke at a few weeks ago, and then I knew Mother's Day was coming, and so I was just asking God, like, just to show me, like, what's real in my own life, in my own heart, that's gonna help all of you. And I was trying to listen for God's voice. Like, I really was trying, but I felt so distracted, and I just found it hard to hear him. So I decided to fast. Fasting always quiets the voices for me. It's like my physical hunger that I feel when I'm fasting. It helps me to remember my spiritual hunger, the hunger to get closer to God that gets hidden when I numb out or when I let my life get filled with distractions. So as I was fasting, God started showing me things, and honestly, it's embarrassing to say, but he showed me how much of a distraction and time robber that I've allowed my phone to become. And honestly, I don't even have anything interesting on my phone. I deleted Instagram a long time ago. I don't have any fun games on there, but I do have Facebook Marketplace. I wonder what people are selling. No intention to buy anything. And I don't have TikTok, but I do have Pinterest. And I discovered that you can get TikTok via Pinterest. So now, yes, I can see influencers show me the mediocre things they got on their shopping trips and endless recipe videos I have no intention of making, exercise routines that I for sure I'm not gonna do, but just boring and mind-numbing things. But still, I let it eat up the minutes and the hours. And I was functioning just on this top part of my brain, and then reaching for my phone, turning on a screen. And I was never getting down deeper to where God was trying to speak to me. And I knew then that this was what God wanted me to talk about today. What a buzzkill. I can almost hear you groaning. She's gonna nag at us about our phones. Yes, I am. But I'm also nagging at myself, so that should make it a little bit easier. Let's look at today as sort of a family talk. So even if you walked in here for the very first time today, let's have a family talk. Because I feel like God is saying, people need this. You need this. You need help with this. So here we are. Family talk Let's regroup because the stakes are high. It's easy to say, oh, those are just little things like our phones and our screens. I'm not really doing anything bad. Like, does it even matter that much? And I don't know how many of you have read C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters, but there's very few books that have stuck with me like that book has. And it's a book of letters written from the point of view of a senior demon who's training up a junior demon in the best ways to tempt people away from God. And I just want a quick time out. If you're new here today, maybe you aren't even sure about this whole Jesus thing, and now I'm talking about demons and tempting, and what is this lady even talking about? So here's what you need to know to just track with everything that I'm going to talk about today. God has a plan for our lives. He's got a plan for my life, and he's got a plan for your life, and it's a good plan. But the devil also has a plan for your life and for mine. In John 10:10, Jesus says, the thief's plan, that's the devil, is to steal and kill and destroy. My purpose is to give you a rich and satisfying life. So God has a good plan for us, but it's so helpful to remember that the devil also has a plan for us. So when I started to see that God was pointing out in my own life how I had let my phone and my screens just become a huge distraction, this quote from Screwtape Letters came back to me. And remember, this is a demon talking to another demon. It does not matter how small the sins are, provided that their cumulative effect is to edge the person away from the light and out into the nothing. Murder is no better than cards if cards can do the trick. Indeed, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. And that chilled me. I couldn't help thinking murder is no better than scrolling if scrolling can do the trick. And I had to ask myself, have I allowed my phone and screens to do the trick in my life? Like, have I allowed them to eat up the best of my time and my attention? And am I being nudged away from God and not even realizing it? Now, I want you guys to think about these next words in your context. Like, C.S. Lewis wrote them in the 1940s, but think about them in terms of your life, your phone, your apps, your podcasts, your screens. And the nothing is very strong enough to steal away a man's best years, not in sweet sins, but in a dreary flickering of the mind over it knows not what and knows not why. In the gratification of curiosity so feeble that the man is only half aware of them. In the long, dim labyrinth of thoughts that have not even lust or ambition to give them a relish, but which, once chance association has started them, the creature, that's me and you, is too weak and fuddled to shake off. And it continues. Think about your online activities, your conversations, your scrolling. You will find that anything or nothing is sufficient to attract his wandering attention. You will no longer need a good book, which he really likes, to keep him from his prayers or his work or his sleep. A column of advertisements in yesterday's paper will do. I thought of Facebook Marketplace. You can make him waste his time not only in conversations he enjoys with people whom he likes, but also in conversations with those he cares nothing about on subjects that bore him. You can make him do nothing at all for long periods. You can keep him up late at night, not roistering, partying, but staring at a dead fire in a cold room. All the healthy and outgoing activities which we want him to avoid can be inhibited and nothing given in return. So that at last he may say, I now see that I spent most of my life doing neither what I ought nor what I liked. Staying up late at night staring at a dead fire in a cold room, that sounds a lot like laying in bed scrolling. And you know what really sobered me? I realized that I find it easier to fast from food than I do from my phone. So I know that that's probably not the greatest sign. So I see now that I've been making things really easy for the devil. My life isn't full of spectacular sins, but it doesn't need to be. The devil didn't have to tempt me to spectacular sins to nudge me away from God, because the distraction of scrolling and screens was doing the trick. And as long as I continued to live in just the top part of my brain and I wasn't paying attention to the places deeper down in my mind and in my heart where God was trying to get my attention, I was doing the devil's job for him. I was asleep to the voice of God in my life, and all the devil needed to do was rock the cradle. What I've been praying for myself and for all of us today is that we get a nagging sense that all is not well. Now, I know that may seem like an odd prayer, but it's God's grace playing out when that happens, when he gives us a sense that things are off in our lives. It's loving and merciful when he does that, when we realize that we need to wake up. In the Screwtape Letters, the demons are taught that this is actually the worst thing that can possibly happen, that a person wakes up and realizes he's drifting away from God, because it's in that awareness that we're spurred on to make some changes in our lives that bring us closer to God. So 5 or so years ago, I wrote a devotion book called Wake Up, Walk On. And it's funny. Wake up, walk on, and here I am again, 5 or 6 years later, needing to wake up again. I'm asleep for different reasons, because that's what happens in every Christian's life, right? When one tactic that the devil has been using stops working, he just tries another tactic. And I know this is not going to be the last time that I need to wake up, but right now in my life, I acknowledge that I've fallen for the devil's tricks, and I need to wake up again with God's help. Maybe as I've been speaking, you're realizing that you need to wake up too. I was at a baby shower last week, and I overheard 2 ladies talking about their phones and their screens, and my ears perked up because I was already feeling like this is what I think God wants me to talk about, and so I was that person, and I butted my face right into the middle of their conversation. What are you guys talking about? So one of the ladies was our lovely Leah, and she was talking about how she remembers before smartphones and before screens were everywhere, when she was in high school, and she'd be washing dishes, and she remembers having such deep thoughts. And now, with screens playing all the time, she just misses that. And then she told me another story that she said that I could share with you today. When she was in high school, she used to walk her dog every day. And this was before phones, right? Before you could just put your headphones in and just listen to podcasts, before you could scroll as you were walking. So she would walk and think. And one day she felt God tell her to befriend this girl that lived on her street. And she knew specifically that she was supposed to tell this girl about Jesus. So Leah reached out, and she became friends with this girl. And she said she didn't have very many successful conversations with this girl about Jesus. She would get a little hostile, in fact, if she ever brought it up. But then one Easter Sunday, her friend showed up here at Southside Church. And Leah doesn't know if she put up her hand to receive Jesus, but she came, and she was here, and she heard the whole story of Jesus. And not too many years after that, Leah got a message from the girl's boyfriend telling her that she had died. She had a disease that people don't usually die from, but she did. And as Leah was telling me that story, I was just covered in goosebumps, and all I could think was, oh, this whole phone addiction thing, this too much noise thing is life or death. What if Leah had been living her life just in this part of her brain, letting all the noise drown out God's voice in her life? There's a lot at stake. In Romans 12, 1 and 2, it says, "So here's what I want you to do," God helping you. "Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Don't become," now listen to this, "don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. This world, this culture is like the current in a river, and it is strong. And if you don't swim against it, if you just let down your guard and you float, you're just going to be carried where it wants you to go. As followers of Jesus, we have to swim constantly against the current. We have to live differently, and that takes courage, and it takes all of our attention. There's a story in the Bible about a prophet named Elijah who had been through a really tough time in his life, and he was exhausted and afraid and discouraged. And God told him to go up into the mountains to a certain cave and wait there for him because God wanted to come and speak to him. So Elijah did, and he waited, and soon an earthquake happened. And Elijah thought, God must be speaking to me in this. But the earthquake came and went, and God didn't speak to him. Then came a wind like a hurricane, and same thing. Elijah thought, this is it. God's going to speak to me in the wind, but he didn't. And then there was a huge fire, but God wasn't in the fire either. Then Elijah heard a still, small voice, a gentle and quiet whisper, and it was God. And he spoke to Elijah and encouraged his weary heart and reminded him that he wasn't alone. If we miss the still, small voice, we not only miss God prompting us to help others, like that story that I shared from Leah, we also miss the quiet whispers that assure us of God's love for us, his encouragement when we're weary, like Elijah was, and his reminders that we are never alone. I think sometimes we say, why isn't God speaking to me? When he is, we just can't hear him over the noise. We're living up here in the top parts of our brain all the time, and we're reaching for our phones, and we're turning on a screen, and it's down here that he's trying to speak to us. We just can't hear him. The noise and the distractions, they eat up the minutes and the hours. And when you really think about it, that's what a life is, isn't it? Just a series of minutes and hours. And what are we missing in those minutes and hours? So today, God helping us, let's take an honest look at our lives. I'm taking an honest look at my own life. Is the devil rocking the cradle with me asleep inside? Have I become so well adjusted to this culture that I fit into it without even thinking? Am I awake at all to the still small voice of God? And what about you? Because God's not going to scream at us. He's not going to violate our free will. We have to choose to create the sort of life and heart that can hear him. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Changed from the inside out. That's what I want. That's what I need, because normal for this culture is distracted and anxious and afraid and lonely and confused. And I want to be different, and I know that you do too. You wouldn't be here today, you wouldn't be watching online today if you didn't want to be different. Revelation 3:20, Jesus says, I'm standing at the door of your heart and I'm knocking. If anyone hears me knocking and opens the door, I will come in and we will have supper together as friends. And he's talking to Christians here. He's talking to his followers here. And something I never noticed before in this verse, did you hear what he said? If anyone hears me. If anyone hears me. Our lives need to be quieter, and our hearts and our minds need to be quieter so that we can hear him knocking. He won't kick down the door. So every Monday, I babysit a couple of my grandkids, and Finn, who you've met, he's 4, and he gets there first around 8:30, and he always wants me to make him toast and cut up strawberries, which he calls stall bellies. And he wants me to sit and watch cartoons with him until his little cousin Lenny gets there. So that's what we were doing one Monday. We were snuggled together on the couch. And I mean, I wasn't into that. I wasn't into the show. You know, I was pretty sure that someone would call the pulp. I had so much trouble saying my words in the first service too, and so I thought it was because I hadn't eaten, and then I ate too much. And now I feel really gross. So I'm just going to blame it on that. Paw Patrol. I was sure someone would call the Paw Patrol and they would come and save the day. So I wasn't that into it. I was scrolling on something dumb and boring. It was probably TikTok via Pinterest. And so he's watching the show. He sees me start to scroll, and he turns to me and he says, "Nana," and he slaps the phone right out of my hand. So he's 4, and he knew part of me had just left. Part of me wasn't present with him in the moment anymore. But God isn't going to slap the phone out of my hand. Sometimes I wish that he would. He's going to wait until I choose to put it down. He waits until we take the steps to quiet the noise in our lives, and then we'll hear him knocking, and we'll hear his still small voice, and we'll open up the door to a deeper and a closer relationship with him. And like that verse in Romans said, that's when we'll begin to be changed from the inside out. You've often heard Pastor Mike say this: your current system is perfectly designed to get the results you're currently getting. So I just want to ask you, are you happy with the results you're currently getting in your life? Are you feeling free and light like the Bible promises us? Or are you anxious and afraid and distracted? Are you wondering why God isn't speaking to you? We all know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, so we need to stop doing the same things over and over again. We need to live differently. We need to take back our minutes and our hours and give them to God instead, so that he can guide us and encourage us and remind us how much he loves us. And I'm talking to myself here, you guys. So let's not give our apps and our screens the best of us. None of us want to waste our lives. And remember, our lives are just minutes and hours. So I want to tell you some of the steps that I'm taking to reclaim my minutes and my hours and give them back to God. So I bought this thing called the Brick. It's actually just called Brick because the Brick is a furniture store. So I bought it and I love it. So it's for my phone, super easy to use because I'm so bad at anything tech, and I can use it really well. You can set different modes. You can decide what to block and what to let in when you're working or when you're with your family and friends, or maybe you're just out wanting to enjoy nature. And maybe you're saying right now, I can do that on my phone. I can set limits. Well, how easy is it to just say, ignore time limit, ignore, right? It's so easy. The difference with this is you actually physically, so you tap your phone to it and it goes into the mode, then you put this on your fridge or in your cupboard, and you have to physically get up and go re-tap your phone to get it out of the mode. And that makes all the difference, I have found. So I was so excited about it that I emailed them to see if I could get all of you a discount. And look, they set it up. I'm an influencer. I was so excited. That's just so fun. So anyways, if you're interested, text BRICK to 604-670-3040, and you'll get a link to my influencer code. So fun. So now, when I'm with my family and my friends, I can just let calls and texts through, just like old school, or you don't have to even let that through, but now no one's slapping the phone out of my hands. So that's very good. And in work mode, I can write, and I can write from like deeper places, because like up here, when I'm reaching for my phone, I don't have any useful thoughts up here. Now I can get deeper. Oh, it's just been so freeing. Okay, so you text it. Now that's my phone. Now what am I doing about screens, which is a little harder? You have to set your own boundaries with your screens, and you need to stick to them. So what I'm doing is I no longer have a screen going when I'm putting on makeup and doing my hair. It's quiet. It's very quiet. When I'm washing dishes, I don't put screens on. When I'm cooking, whatever. I just don't have screens playing all the time so that I can actually have some thoughts. And also, I love British TV. So BritBox is my Netflix. So they have this thing that's like they're just their regular membership, their regular subscription, and they drop the popular shows once a week. And then if you upgrade, then you can binge the whole thing in a day. So I'm not upgrading. And it's been like really fun. I feel like you look forward to Thursday because your show drops. It's very fun. Some of you don't remember those days. They were good days. Even then we felt guilty about screens. TV was the devil, which you know what? Okay, so you have to think of your own boundaries for screens, and the point is stick to them. And if you're a parent here, I want to encourage you to take some steps in your own life and in your own habits about phones and screens, because your kids watch what you do way more than they listen to what you say. So model for them a life where your iPhone isn't always in your hand and where there's not always a screen playing in the background. Because when we model the kind of life that makes room for God, which is the life we all want our kids to adopt, that's powerful when we model it. So I want to play a clip now from John Mark Comer. He's a pastor and the best-selling author of The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which many of you have read. So I just want you to hear what he has to say.
I won't ever. They can buy them if they want. I'm not paying for that. We made a decision early on that our kids would have nothing prior to 16. And my daughter right now is 15. She's the only student in her entire high school that does not have a phone, or so she tells me. I can't confirm that or deny it. At 16, they get a kind of flip phone, or they talked us into like a hyper-restricted dumb phone because it has a couple other things on there that are helpful. And then at 18, it's their decision if they want a smartphone or not. I'm not buying them one, but at that point, I'd love to be a part of them discerning the right way to do it. So we just said that earlier on and made that really clear to our kids, and it's been really hard. It's been hard for them because they feel, like they are on the outside looking in. It's been a social challenge for them. Again, the only kids prior to their sophomore year in high school without a phone. They don't like that. I believe that when they're my age, they will thank me for it. They're certainly not thanking me for it now, and I don't blame them for that at all. But I tried to be really upfront with them, and I think I don't know a single parent that gave their kids a device young that doesn't regret it. And I think there's so much overwhelming evidence now that this is damaging our kids. Even if you're not even a Christian, trying to form your kids into the way of Jesus, just if you are care about mental health, that it doesn't even make sense anymore why we are still giving our kids these phones. And as followers of Jesus that don't want our kids' minds to be destroyed by porn, by ideology, by peer pressure, I think one of the most important things that we as parents will stand before God and give an account for is whether or not we protected our children from this incredible predator. And many of us, would never in a million years let a dangerous sexual predator anywhere within 100 yards of our children, much less be alone in their bedroom. And yet we will hand them a phone and walk away. And that, I think, is 10x more dangerous. So I think we need to be deeply vigilant when it comes to the danger of these devices, while adopting a beautiful outlook on life and a joyful, celebratory kind of view of the world. So I think one of the best ways that Christian parents can help each other is by, again, creating alternative social norms to that of the culture. So if parents can get together and make a pact with 3 or 4 or 5 other families, hey, we're not going to give our kids a phone until 16. Hey, we're not going to let our kids have social media at all until they're out of the house or graduate from high school. I think that will make it easier both for the parents and for the kids.
I just thought that would be so cool if we could all do that with each other, with your friend group, with your small group, I don't know, your siblings. You make a pact together and create some new normals, some phone-free normals for your kids that go against the culture, but then they're not alone and then you're not alone. I just thought that would be so cool. So that's just food for thought for you all. And like he said, your kids will thank you for it someday. And even if they don't, your job as a parent is to fight with your kids, to fight for your kids. So I just want to encourage you to fight for your kids. Now, I've made a little personal reflection exercise for all of us to work through on our own in the coming week. And you can find it by texting the keyword search to 604-670-3040. Psalm 139, verse 23 and 24 says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life." And there's a quote that I use in this exercise from Susanna Wesley, who's the mother of Charles and John Wesley. They're 18th century preachers and hymn writers. And this quote has helped me so much to search my heart with God's help, to see if there are things that are coming between me and him, things that I need to let go of, to surrender, to repent of. And this is what she says: "Whatever weakens your reason, impairs the tenderness of your conscience, obscures your sense of God, takes off your relish for spiritual things, whatever increases the authority of the body over the mind, that thing is sin to you, however innocent it may seem in itself." So for the exercise, I rewrote that in the context of like modern day language and in my own life. Whatever causes confusion in my mind, whatever numbs me from caring about the things I know I should care about, whatever clouds my ability to hear God, whatever weakens my desire for prayer, for reading the Bible, for going to church, whatever feeds my physical desires while starving my soul, that thing is sin to me, however innocent it may seem in itself. So let's put it all on the table before God. Little things, big things, things that need to change so that we can hear the voice of God in our lives, because we need to hear it. We're starving ourselves of his voice of love and guidance and encouragement. We need to hear his voice.